We're in the back there going, you want me to go in? You want you to go in? Let's go in together.
Hi, everybody. How's it going? How's your Fan Expo been so far?
Alrighty.
My name is Stephen Robin, and I play Mr. Simpson / Snake. This is Pat Mastriani.
Hey everybody, how you doing? AKA Joey Jeremiah.
And we brought some friends of ours that have never done this before, so they're pretty excited. I think we should introduce them. First off, why don't we introduce, you might know him as Spinner. She plays my stepdaughter on the show, Emma, but her name is also Miriam McDonald.
And he plays my crazy stepson. You know him as Craig. I know him as Jake Epstein. He's got so much swagger.
She wore her thong over her jeans, I think, on Degrassi. Cassie Steele.
So, with a lot of panels, you'll have like a guest moderator and all that stuff, but we'd like to just basically open up questions to the floor, invite you guys to ask questions. Just raise your hand and we'll point out to you, and then just quickly, just as clearly as you can, just shout out a question, and we'll take it from there, because we have just enough time to answer a few questions. Yes, sir, go ahead. How you doing?
I have disability, so I have a feeding package, bipolar, I am schizophrenia, bipolar autism. I was just wondering if you could get a deal with photos.
You know what? We have a wonderful handler by the name of Kimberly. She's going to come over and speak to you directly about that, okay, my friend? We'll take care of you. No, we started the Degrassi tour. Hold on, we started the Degrassi tour last year in March. We did the Toronto Comic Con. It was our first appearance as a Degrassi reunion, and once I saw what Aubrey did last month with his reunion in his video.
Aubrey is great, by the way.
Yeah. We thought it'd be awesome to be able to offer you guys a TNG experience as well, and we're just excited to have these four representing the whole crew. We hope. Hi, Lisa. How are you? We hope to be able to have this in other cities as well. But for now, you guys are the first. We're happy to be here, and we hope that you guys are excited. And we've met so many wonderful people that have come from far and wide to meet all of us today, and we do appreciate that. Is there any other question? Hold on, my friend. Is there anybody else that has a quick question? Anybody? Oh yes, go ahead, my friend.
Is Aubrey attending?
Yeah, he's just hanging out back there, just waiting.
Maybe.
It was, guys, maybe you can talk a little bit about that experience, and when was the last time everyone sort of saw each other before then, you know? I mean, it's been a couple of years.
I feel like Cassie and I had gotten together one year, like around Christmas time. I think maybe like a year.
As a present to me.
I was a Christmas present, you know?
My one wish was to see her.
But it's,
I had a couple dreams about Shane over the years. I got to see Shane Kimball's band perform a few years back.
Oh, yeah.
I was super impressed.
One of them.
That was before, I think, before the Drake video. It was probably the last time I saw.
Yeah, you probably saw, well, actually, none of them made it. So you saw one of my bands that didn't make it. Thanks for coming out.
I was your fan.
Yeah, you were the other guy waving in the audience.
What is life like after Degrassi for you guys? I know what it's like for me. It's pretty crappy. But for you guys, life after Degrassi means what to you?
Private jets, yachts.
Degrassi is like, it's a bit, it was a bit strange when the show ended, honestly, because I had been on it since I was so young. It felt like it was so familiar. It felt like a family. It was like every single year from May to November, I was with these people. So it was like a bit of a slap in the face, quite honestly, when the show ended, and I was just kind of like set loose in the world. Took some time to, I'm not even kidding, like I miss these guys a lot. But no, I mean, I think we've all like found our place within, you know, either the industry or just like in our own lives. But it was weird. It was weird. I missed them a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I probably spent more time on set shooting Degrassi than I did at my actual high school. So it was ending, when I left the show, it was like graduating from high school. That's sort of, that's how it's felt. And like seeing people over the years has sort of been like seeing old high school friends. It sort of feels like a high school reunion going on right now.
Yeah.
With our like uncle and...
There is a restraining order, we don't really.
Yes, sir.
Do you still hang out with Drake?
Well, did you see the video? Obviously, we still hang out. Before the video, I think it had been a few years, at least a few years since any of us had seen him. Like we were in touch every so often over Instagram or like text, but he's a busy guy. I don't know. If you turn on the news, for more than 30 seconds, he's definitely mentioned, and he's usually in a different point in the world. So I don't even think it's hard to meet up with the guy because if he makes plans for next week, he could end up in Australia. Just, oh, sorry, I had to go. It's not a typical life anymore, but we love hanging out with him because he brings us very nice things.
It was a really nice experience, though, also watching these guys, like, you know, it's their class, but it's nice that Aubrey, you know, invited me to be in the video, but watching these guys have their reunion, it was a real reunion. Like, it was quite the party, though, guys, wasn't it not? Like,
yeah.
We had fun while we were shooting.
I
so.
lost my shoes. Yeah, it was pretty real.
But that's everybody.
Tell us the story.
I took them off for just a second, guys. We were having some shots. We were sitting on the bleachers. Took them off for just a second. I looked back. They were gone. I had to walk back upstairs shoeless. Everyone looking, you know? Don't take your shoes off on the bleachers.
There were moments when we were shooting the video where we'd be literally hanging out, having fun, and then look up and realize they were filming us. Like what you saw in the video was totally genuine.
Yeah, it was very casual. It was like, okay, so we're filming in the gym. Guys like dance for real, like they had a DJ, it was fun. So have a good time there, but the bar's back there, so if you ever want to step off, just go grab a drink, go have a break, and come back, and we'll film more.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, sounds fun. Did you really throw up in the video?
Why were you the one asked to throw up in the video?
I'm so glad you took one for the team and like said you would do it.
Took one for the team. I volunteered gladly.
And all the girls were like, no,
No,
please don't
of course,
do
but look, people are asking about it, and that was the whole. Here's a little extra camera time, right? And just so you know, that puke was made out of 5 different types of fruit, some granola, some jam, and it was cool. It came out of the fridge, so there was nothing. It was very tasty.
Very tasty. Yes, sir, down there. Yeah.
This is for all 6 of you guys. There was a lot of episodes, but what's your personal favorite episode?
Good question. Yes.
Mine is my own. Every single episode I've ever been in, but probably You Got the Look, where Manny broke out the thong. I think it was like a turning point in Manny's life and also mine.
Jake?
Probably my favorite. We're all gonna say our own episodes, but that's what's gonna happen. The very first episode I was in, it was the first. It was like a 2-parter at the beginning of season 2, called When Doves Cry, and the director of it was Bruce McDonald, who's like a really well-known indie Canadian film director, and I was a big fan of his. So it was getting to be in this thing that felt like an indie film and getting to work with. That was my first episode, and Pat, getting to work with Pat was awesome, and Hugh Dillon, who played my abusive dad, was like absolutely terrifying on camera, and then like the nicest guy as soon as the camera, so it was very confusing. But that was probably, kind of being introduced to everyone here and the whole world of Degrassi.
I don't know what my favorite episode is. Like, I was trying to do an inventory in my head. I don't even know if I remember all of the episodes. I'll tell you what, the one that I had the most fun filming was the season, I think it was season 6 opener, Here Comes Your Man, the one where Peter and Emma and Sean are kind of in a love triangle. That was just a super fun episode because we got to shoot on location a lot, which for Degrassi, we're on set so much of the time. So whenever we get to leave the studio, it feels really exciting. But I mean, I don't know. I think I have a lot of favorites.
Well, I'll follow suit. Talk about my own episodes. The Pride or Glory episodes where I went from a full head of hair to, well, or I don't know. But no, they were really trying episodes. They were a lot of fun. There was a great arc that went into it, and I got to actually shave my head on camera, which was really freaky. And like I had never had short hair up to that point, and I didn't know if I was going to expose like a really weird birthmark. That's true. But I had to have a mohawk first, and the director, Phil Earnshaw, just wanted me to keep going. He wanted to get more shots. And our hairstylist was watching as I kept going back, just staring in the mirror, and I'm going closer to the middle in the back, and she's like, no, you gotta cut it. But, so if you look at the back, it's a little bit of like an S curve, but that's my signature now.
I'm going to tell you a quick story about how we were auditioning for the role of Craig. We had a lot of young people come in to the audition room, and I was kind of sitting in my chair for a couple of hours, and kid after kid after kid would come in, and it was that scene where Craig Manning turns to Joey in the cemetery, and he has this moment where he's crying, and something, what did you say?
He hits you, doesn't he?
He hits you, doesn't he, right? It was a really emotional scene, and all these kids were coming in, and they just weren't nailing it. They weren't in the moment. They were just kind of like acting, right? And then here comes this young Jake Epstein, walks into the room, and we did the scene once, and I'm like, oh, I sat up, and I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna make me act now, right? Because he kind of blew us all away, and the producer said, do you mind if we do it again? And she gave him a little bit of direction, like this, try it like that, less, anger, but more, upset, whatever. And then he comes back, and he did this thing, I'm gonna act it out for you real quick. And he turns around, right? And does one of these, and just one tear.
It's called the single tear.
The single tear move.
It's a technique that we've been working on.
And he did it like 20 more times on the show after that one. He mastered it.
Can I tell a very quick counter story? When I was auditioning for the show, and there was a room full of guys who were all auditioning to play Craig, and Pat was there, and everyone was freaking out because Joey Jeremiah was there, and we found out we were going to read with Joey Jeremiah. Now, I am ashamed to say I had never seen an episode of Degrassi before. So I was the one person in the room who didn't really care who this guy was. Pat came up to me. I have no idea to this day why he picked me, but he said, hey you want to run lines? I was like, all right, sure, strange guy. I was like, you're so lucky. We went off and we practiced the scene a few times. And when I went in the room, I felt like really comfortable with the guy. And it's for sure part of the reason that it helped me get the part. And to this day, I have no idea why Pat singled me out. It's a total mystery.
So your ignorance for Degrassi and your extra practice is basically what you owe your entire career. Nice, that's cool. I did mine, just normally.
Stefan, sorry.
I think, I'm sorry, Jake wasn't going to stop talking.
Give me your list.
So, you know what, I think I have to go to the ones that I directed that I love the most. And I think it's a tie between Degrassi and Hollywood, which I kind of love. Because it was like one of the first things I really got to direct. It was kind of a big deal. And Kevin Smith said he would do it if I directed. So like, it was kind of like, I look back on that thing with really fond memories. Like, you were really awesome in that. It was a lot of fun. Everyone was really awesome in that. And my second favorite, and my tie for favorite, was actually a webisode series called Degrassi of the Dead, where all the kids became zombies and they murdered each other. And I got to write it as well, so I got to get everyone, I got to kill them the way I wanted. And, you guys remember that? It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty wicked. So,
That was like one of our first webisodes.
I know it was the webisodes that made it to TV. Like that was a time where they're like, oh, it could be a Halloween special, so they put CTV put them all together
I
as a
didn't
Halloween
even
special.
know they were ever on TV. I was just
Yeah,
watching them
on Halloween.
Oh.
Harmony, our friend Harmony down there has a question.
Kind of more for the TNG crew. With the last movie and Emma and Spinner just kind of randomly being thrown together, like if you had the opportunity to write your own ending for your character, where would you go with that?
That's a great question.
What you're trying to say is that you hate the Spinner.
Nothing happened until the movie, and then it's like all of a sudden you like have a one-nighter and then get married.
Well, that's how many people fall. I still remember when we were in the read-through for those episodes, and everyone around the table, because it was like a big square of tables in a big space in the middle, and we're all facing each other, and we find out what happens, and everyone just looks up and, what? This is okay, let's go with it. And like it ended up making sense, but if I had to write an alternate ending, it would definitely be that when Jane comes the day of the wedding, no offense, but when Jane comes
Don't marry me, it's fine.
when Jane comes and there's that nice moment with Spinner in the tent where she wishes him well, that's where he's just like, but I was well with you, and then they sneak off and leave Emma at home.
I cannot disagree with that. I think that would have been good, but I'm gonna just add to it.
Oh, yeah.
And then Emma like is sobbing, she's so frigging, she's like defeated, walks outside, and then Sean is like just like and Emma's like crying, she thought her day was ruined, and Sean's there and he's like, I've been waiting for you this whole time.
Cool.
I think we just wrote a better script.
But really, we're so happy to be married.
I mean, why didn't these two get married? Like,
Because he cheated on me. Before we even got to the engagement, it was a polyamorous relationship. I was not down. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like they were sort of they had a very physical connection. I don't know if they had the like marital connection. Yeah. But Sean, maybe
Mama? Hi.
Did any of you guys take anything from set when the show ended or during?
Good question.
well, I have the dolphin hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the dolphin hands from season 1.
I have
No, go.
I have this like patch jacket that I wore from our Christmas episode where we were like skating on the ice and I jump into his arms, which is really dangerous because it's ice. Yeah,
I think we looked scared.
Yeah, we looked terrified.
I stole a Craig like in flames like Hell Hath No Fury T-shirt that my best buddy Graham like earnestly wears all the time.
I took the suit that I wore in the Drake video. I think I went. Just for you piece.
You got some kick-ass stuff.
I have, well, from the old show though. I had my original Zip Remedy shirt. It's like, it says Snake.
Yeah.
I tried to put it on, it's way too tight.
Yeah.
Really embarrassing.
But you also got Snake's blue jacket.
Well, I mean, you have to be really old school with Degrassi. Like, the Snake was like on the swim team, I think. Yeah. When he was there was Melanie, and Melanie liked him, so he had a swim team jacket. It was basically just like crazy glued on, just a snake on, like let him
Make himself?
Yeah.
I had a bunch of old Joey's fedoras, and I donated them to charities. I gave them away. They were like candy back in the 90s, like whatever. Take a Joey hat, But I do have the Joey Jeremiah hat from the reunion episode 1 of Degrassi TNG, so that's a nice memento to have from the show. Yes, sir.
And while we have you, what's some advice for when we go into high school?
Be sure she watches all the Degrassi before she walks through those doors.
Except for mine, don't watch mine.
So don't send her to Degrassi. Goes down in that school.
Yeah, no one comes out unscathed.
If you graduate from Degrassi, you will live forever.
I can only imagine how hard it must be to be a teenager today. I mean, we all thought it was tough when we were kids. With social media today, you said it beautifully in that interview the other day, how your life is literally being critiqued online through social media by your friends and strangers and criticizing the quality of the...
Yeah, and everything you do is judged, and if you're not getting enough comment, we all know how social media is, and I mean, going through high school, our age was hard enough when we were just a couple of years before it started to play such a big part in everyone's lives.
No, it's weird if you look back, and I think we talked about this before, where Manny, gets drunk and flashes, and it ends up on the internet, and she's basically, chastised by the entire school, made a pariah of sorts. And then if you go to next class, when we had a read-through one time, we asked the kids there, have any of you sexted before? And no one put up their hand to say they hadn't, And it's just that's how much times have changed. Where the Manny story is almost quaint, where she actually was like, I don't want this on the internet, where it's they're ready for that in the sense where so many mistakes are made, and I can't imagine what being a teenager is like today. It's got to be.
Or Darcy with her glamour shots that Peter took of her.
Yeah, that seems so innocent.
Yeah,
now.
on a homemade website.
Yeah. Young lady in the red hair?
What was the hardest episode to film?
Hardest episode to film?
I mean, I'm gonna talk about one of my episodes again. Well, for me, the Manny character she was kind of sexualized, and I feel like a lot of her experiences were maybe just a little bit before I was ready to be publicized, or I'm not sure. She had the thong episode, and I kind of felt nervous doing it, but I was excited, and then they're just sway I'm I don't even it's really, I'm the baby. So and also the abortion episode was really difficult, just because I hadn't known anyone, and the people who I talked to, it's just a really emotional experience for everyone, or or not, whatever. So, here or there. No, get off that subject.
No, I get where Cassie's coming from. I get where you're coming from, because I was asked to do a nude scene early on in my career when I was only 18, and I was awkward and uncomfortable and confident of oh my god, I'm going to be naked in front of 150 people on set, and you feel I can't possibly do this, and it must be incredibly awkward when you're a young woman. I mean, I've had friendships with people that I've known for 5 years before doing my exposed scene.
And I loved every second.
Oh yeah. Can I tell you, I had the cast treat me with the utmost respect, but it was the crew that were putting dollar bills in my hat and trying to smack my butt on set. I mean, it was a different time.
Cassie's saying, as far as I think it was probably the same with. Sorry, did I interrupt you? No. But that Amanda Steptoe played a 13-year-old who was pregnant. On the original Degrassi, I think that's where they learned the rule that the closer you were to the age of your character going through something terrible and the embarrassment you bring with it, the more honest the performance. It's one of those things where I think you guys would agree also that when you get a chance to, everyone wants the role, the storyline where it's the shittiest thing that's happened, right? Sure. Everyone wants to be I want to have the big event that you're going through. So it is kind of you're torn a little bit between going this is so scary, and I want to be able to be the one that tells that story.
But I also remember that on the Next Generation, at least, several of the cast members, their first kiss was on camera. The first time they ever kissed. Yeah, I thought you were. Yeah, we'll give you guys the dark room for a second.
No, I was scared out of my mind. I was the most awkward little kid ever. And Daniel Clark at the time, he was older and he was experienced, and I was trembling. I was I think I watched, I don't know, Dawson's Creek or something. How do you kiss? What do you do? And I just remember standing, waiting for Daniel to walk over, and I was just praying for him to say cut. I was say cut, this is it. This is all you're getting. So scared.
I remember when we were shooting the episodes where Craig is gonna have sex with Manny, and I had never had sex before, and it was terrifying. It was terrifying that they were. I mean, not the same degree as nudity and something, but I was it was strange to have to do that, and it's kind of amazing that it's like captured on camera for people. It's kind of like.
I was excited.
Yeah. I do have one memory of shooting the bipolar episodes that I shot, and there was this scene where where Craig trashes the hotel room, and it was they built this set just so that I could destroy it, and they said you have one take to do it. So you were saying, what do you remember as the hardest thing to shoot? So I was so nervous because they were like, if you screw it up, you have to keep going, because once you start breaking the set, that's it. So I'm like rehearsing it over and over. You take the blinds and you swipe the lampshade and the TV and the thing. And so I'm really nervous, and I remember there was a crowd of like Ryan Cooley and Goldsby were all there watching, because they were like, Epstein's gonna go trash the set, he's got one take, and watch him screw it up. So we go to shoot it, and I'm doing the thing, and I ripped the lamp out of the wall, and it electrocuted me, and it's on camera. You see me like, and I'm like, this is my nightmare. This is like something went wrong, but I kept going, because that's what you do. So I'm like, just kind of crazy. And that is the take that they used. Is he good? Go. Keep going. Let him keep going.
Like on-set injuries, there were like a bunch of us. In the 80s dance episode, when Emma's supposed to be so upset that she sees Spike and Snake kissing on the front porch, and this is just after those two got together at the dance, and I was all rejected, and she goes home, and our director was like, okay, and I want you to punch the frame of the door because you're so angry. And I was like in the scene, so I punched the glass, and my first reaction was, oh, Shiza, I am gonna get in so much trouble for breaking the set. And then I looked down at my hand, and I was like, oh my god. So of course, I had to get stitches, and you know, I've got a scar for life, so I'll never forget it.
I remember Sinead Grimes, who played Darcy, she's supposed to cut her hair, and she threw a pair of scissors into her leg.
She was doing it in front of me, in front of the scissors, because she's like, you want to see what crazy I am? She starts cutting off her hair, and she practiced. There were two pairs of scissors. There was the dull pair of scissors that were just for the prop, and then they wanted to make sure she cut really well, so they gave her an extra sharp pair of scissors. And every time you hear it hit the floor, and then she's like, she goes, you think I'm crazy now? You heard nothing. It just went into her leg. And she did not break. She just stayed in character, and she walked out of the room, and then they're like, I'm just waiting, like, and all you hear is, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
She walked out of the room with scissors in her leg?
I think they slipped out at that point. Oh. Anyways, it was a bad hit. It was, and I'm just like,
It's a dangerous job.
Yeah. The best part I remember though also is that they had to take her to the hospital, so there was nothing to shoot, so they were looking for Aubrey to shoot scenes that he wasn't supposed to be in that day. They were like, is Drake around?
Can you dance a bit? Can you
hip hop?
See, that's what happens when you grow up on TV. You miss the part about how to use normal like tools.
What are scissors? Are they sharp?
Yes.
I don't know.
What happens when okay.
Yes.
With like that being said, is there any character that you feel was on the show that like wasn't fully developed to their potential and had like the story that they could have had?
I think there's lots of characters. I mean, Degrassi is a big world. And I think, there's a lot of fan fiction that comes out based on the fact that they don't have enough story. I think also there have been times where the writers didn't know what to do with an actor until it was too late. Where, I think there's some characters that, I think like Connor was a character that the writers didn't know what to do with until further into the show, and I think they discover they would discover the actor's strengths as they went along. So, I mean, you're dealing with a lot of the original cast that had very defined characters when they were there. I mean, I don't know what you could have told about with these characters that wasn't already told, Does that help?
That's a good answer.
For any of you, were there times where you had to use personal life experiences to put in the scene and make it better? Like the outcome?
I think always to a degree. I think that there's of course, if there is a crying scene, for me personally, I would try to go to a very real and authentic place. And those days would be hard, actually. I think in the earlier seasons, I feel like season 1 and 2, I feel like Emma had more crying than later on in the seasons. But it was tough because I would have it in my head if I had a crime scene like at the end of the day, all day, I'd sort of be like working myself up to it. And then there's like a kind of like a dark cloud over you a little bit. But I think, I think to be authentic, you kind of have to bring a bit of your personal experience.
In Degrassi Takes Manhattan, where the scene where I'm overhearing Jane talk about cheating, at that point, I was with my ex-girlfriend, and we're not together anymore, and we had broken up and gotten back together, but I knew that she was seeing this other guy when we were broken up. So I asked her for pictures of her with that guy, and I was looking at them.
You're a masochist? Oh my God.
Yeah. I know.
Dark, dude.
I know. And then I broke up with her again.
Hulk smash.
No, the last part's a joke, but I mean, like, it's true, but not immediately after.
Yeah. You dated her sister first. I remember that for a scene that I had to be really upset in Bad Blood, in the original series between Dwayne and Joey, where Dwayne gives back the money to Joey because he tells him, Joey knows that Dwayne has AIDS. Dwayne and I or Darren Brown and I had been working for 2 weeks straight in that 1 hour episode. We were so giddy at the end of the 2 weeks that when it came to that very pivotal scene at the end of the episode where he says, take the money, and Joey takes the money from him, all I could think about was Steve Miller singing, take the money and run. We kept breaking character, we kept cracking up, and we were punching a brick wall inside the school, trying to get our fists to not bleed, but just to be in pain a little bit so that we had something else to focus on in that scene. And that's what sometimes actors do, to just focus, or we go to a dark place, or we just find something that will bring something to the character that we use in our daily lives. But in that particular moment, we were so exhausted, so giddy, and I don't know if these guys have ever been in that situation where you just, how am I going to get through this scene?
I don't remember when Snake finds Claude's body in Degrassi High. I was supposed to start crying with Mr. Radich. I had nothing in me. I just couldn't do it, and I went to craft services and I grabbed some onions. And I rubbed them in my eyes because I was like, I can't. It's like that happens. I think sometimes you're like, it's just not happening. I can't find it. And sometimes you go like, is finding a personal memory going to help you? And sometimes you're like, that actually screwed me up even more.
Yeah.
It's like not bringing the emotion that you want. So it's like trying to maybe be in the moment of the character, or just get some freaking onions.
We're weird.
No, but you need to be prepared. Obviously, you need to be prepared. But sometimes being over-prepared, you kind of lock yourself into a loop, and then anything spontaneous that should come of it distracts you, and nothing's flowing properly. You have good days, you have bad days, just like anything else. But the onions in the eye, that must have been painful.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it sucked.
What was your name again in the corner? You had your hand up for so long.
Oh, Kayla.
Kayla, hi.
Hi, my question for all of you is, who was your favorite Degrassi character besides your own character?
Everyone wanted to be Craig.
My favorite character was Spinner, for real. I wasn't in the show the first season when I saw it on TV. I like Spinner.
I really liked Mandy because I loved how she was like such the counterpoint to Emma. Like I kind of was like envious and was like, oh, I wish I got to play Mandy. I wish I got to I think that like her character was really cool and she had great storylines. You don't have to pick me though.
I know, I was like, now I have to pick Emma. No, I'm just kidding. Emma for the same reasons, okay?
I think mine is actually Spinner as well. And it's like, because Spinner, maybe it's Joey, I'm not sure, but because after Spinner graduated from the show, there's always this question like, who's the spinner on the show? Who's the spinner on the show? And we're always looking for the last spinner for me.
You realize it was you?
Yeah, it was me. The last spinner that I could find, which was also Joy Jeremiah, was Lola on the new show. And she was our spinner. And so it's like the character that everyone loves, but is just too dumb to really make a choice, a change in their life after they've gone through something terrible. And it's like, it's that character that goes, you want him to do so well, and then he screws up again, and he screws up again. And that's a very difficult character to play also, because you have to be likable. on top of being able to basically be responsible for getting Jimmy shot in the back. You know, like that's a hard one to play. Or walk through the cafeteria.
Yeah. No, I've been calling myself the William Shatner of Degrassi, so. You know what? I've been telling people this really interesting story. We've been doing these bus tours for the last couple of years, where we take fans to Degrassi Junior High, Degrassi High. Hi, Mike. How are you? And I often say that the school itself is a character on the show. And even for your generation, the TNG, I mean, that school, that building is a character. It's the soul, it's the spirit of the show. And we're just kind of the props of it. And I think that is probably one of the most important characters, is the building, is the school itself. So I love doing the tours. I love bringing fans to the actual locations.
You're just a bunch of props.
Yeah, you're just a prop, man. I'm a prop. My hopes and dreams are to be able to do a Degrassi Palooza next summer, where we go to Degrassi High and we spend 3 days in the building, and we actually have panels and Q&As and discussions about life and social issues and things of that nature. So, you know, keep following Degrassi Tour, and hopefully we'll be able to do that for you.
And no one sleeps, no one's left.
Yes.
Right, everyone makes bad decisions.
We got a few more minutes, so maybe 2 more questions. So I want to see enthusiastic hands if you have a really good question. She's like, oh, now. I heard an elbow pop.
So a couple of you guys came on in next class. So what was that like for some of you guys who went on there to go back on set and to see all the new characters?
First of all, 11, fantastic costume.
Yeah, it's wicked.
I really thought it was you for a second. It was great going back because whenever, as one of the next generation characters, when we got to cameo on Next Class, we were almost treated like royalty, like I don't want to say old people, but like a little bit like, oh, I've heard about you. You used to be in this room over here, and so we were given a lot of respect from the new cast, and they just seemed to welcome us in and have a lot of fun with us, and it was just nice to see that the torch was passed to such like young, enthusiastic, and talented people, and to carry it on for as long as it did. So it was a lot of fun to be there. Oh, just me?
Yeah, no. It definitely felt full circle, because when we all started the show in the next generation, Pat and Stefan were there on the show and were there to mentor us and guide us and make us laugh and tell stories. And so it felt like it was like part of the Degrassi experience to go back, and we got to meet some of the new Next Class castmates and joke with them and tell them stories and tell them how like much better their dressing rooms are than when we were on the show. It's like the same thing these guys would do.
I think there's a real, there's a certain personality that makes a lot of sense as a cast member on Degrassi. And it's very weird to be with these guys because they remind me so much of the Next Class actors as well. They're very much, there's a similarity as far as like an actor that's really good at ensemble acting. It's a very different move going, I'm the star, it's about me. It's about working together, and that's a very different personality. It's a very different kind of listening skill in a weird way for an actor. And I recognized that so much in Next Class. And it was so nice to see the meeting, because you could definitely see, well, that's the Craig of Next. You know, I think like I can't remember his name. One of the. It doesn't matter. But there's definitely a Craig on Next Class who is, that has taken that position, and they're worthy of that, you know.
These guys used to make fun of us in season 1 of TNG because I was trying to, instill in them the experience of Stefan and I being on the show for so many years. And I remember like Jake and everybody laughing at us, like, okay, old man. But I remember one time I said to Aubrey, I go, I really hope you get to be famous one day. It's a lot of fun when people come up to you and recognize you on the street. I hope, this Degrassi does that for you. And he's just like, whatever.
He's like, I don't need any of that. One story that you told me in the early years was, the fame thing, it can come with some, negative aspects. Like, there were times when we would go out to bars and people would pick fights, throw beer bottles, and that's yet to happen. But I mean, a lot of us will be at the club together tonight.
Yes.
Everyone wants to make his dream come true.
I'm gonna make Skinner throw up tonight. So. Love
The
it.
real stuff, not the tasty stuff.
Hey guys, one more question, then we gotta wrap it up. I'm gonna let Miriam pick.
Oh God, that's so much pressure.
Yeah.
Right in the front here.
This is a perfect question to end with. What's the future for Degrassi and stuff? You probably would know, because once Netflix picked it up, I thought, oh good, this is going to continue on. Yeah. And then where are we going from this point?
I don't have an answer for you. I don't really know.
Is it dead?
I'm no longer involved with the show. So I don't think the show is really happening right now, so there is no position to be filled. I don't think that means that Degrassi's dead, but it is definitely not going to be happening anytime soon. I think even if they were to bring back next class, those kids have grown a lot, and I think that there's a possibility, but I don't think we should be expecting anything in the near future. It's a shame. It's like it's.
Because Stefan, like Linda and Steven, who are our executive producers, created from the very beginning and Skylar birthed the show.
Yeah.
So she isn't she sold it, no?
Well, she's still executive producer of the show, and trust me, they have a lot of ideas of what they want to do, and it's just a question of, I think we got a little lost in the world of Netflix a little bit, even though I think the show was fantastic. Next Class is just as good as any other Degrassi, I think the algorithm didn't work for us, because if you watch Degrassi, it would send you to Full House, and I don't think we're the same show, and I think I was like, why wouldn't you, if you pulled up Riverdale, then you would get Degrassi, I think they were closer in tone, but needless to say, I think there will be another Degrassi. I think it's like Star Trek a little bit, where it can be sort of reborn over and over again, so.
You know what, this is gonna sound crazy, and I know these guys know nothing about this, but I've been trying to find other ways to reinvigorate the brand. I've actually been in contact with DHS Media a lot in the past year, and I've tried to do something as much as like a graphic novel or comic book series of the show. I've tried to do an animated version of the series. I want to try to find some way to bring the show back. It may not be live action right away, it could be a different format, but I think every generation needs their version of Degrassi. It's a friend to the audience, and you guys have told us, you have taught us that the show means something to you, and you're willing enough to fly in from Los Angeles and Chicago and come all over the country, North America, just to see us. And that just shows us how important the show meant to you. And I would love to be a part of bringing that back. And I think by doing these tours, it just keeps the name alive as opposed to just being forgotten.
I will say this, I've read some stuff that exists that would blow your mind, and I don't know if you'll ever see the light of day, but it's like, it would blow your mind. And you never know, there's always an opportunity to see what would happen, but it's honestly, it's one of those things where it's so hard online when we talk to fans, and they constantly are asking, where's season 5 of Next Class, where's season 5 of Next Class? And I really don't have an answer, unfortunately, so.
Well, we believe in the show, we want it to survive, and we want everybody to enjoy it, and that's what we're gonna fight for, to do our best to bring it to you.
And what Pat was saying, I just want to also extend on behalf of all of us, such a huge thank you to you guys. As much as you feel that we have maybe in some way, one of us impacted your life, or if you came home and enjoyed watching this, we were going through those things too, and the fact that you guys were supporting us is what made us be able to have this experience, create this show. So we owe more thanks to you guys. We are so happy to have you here and honored that you guys all made the journey to come here and support us and meet us. So thank you guys.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you for watching the Convention Junkies coverage of Fan Expo Canada 2018. Join the conversation below with a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe to see more. If you would like to help us with future projects, please visit our Patreon page.